Greetings everyone, I'm Cataclysmic Armageddon. Cursed Aphid interrupted my extremely busy schedule of doing nothing and requested I do the no-hitter section of this video. Why me, you ask? Gosh, I've absolutely no idea. Why would Cursed Aphid ask me, of all people, to do a no-hitter section for this video? It's a total mystery if you ask me. Right, let's talk about what this topic is, shall we?
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it!
This is a truly mythical art form of just don't get hit. If you can pull that off, you're golden. I mean, it's a simple enough form, really. You just fight a boss and don't get hit by anything. So, you've gotten the just don't get hit skill in place. Great, we can move on to other things that can assist you. We all know that you can avoid damage with the titanium armor special ability, the hallowed armor if you're in 1.4, and ninja dodge from the black belt, but we don't talk about those. You're still getting hit! Take the bloody thing off and do it again! Ever heard of the flying carpet? No? I don't blame you. We all get the blasted Pharaoh set instead of something that's actually useful to us. The flying carpet lets you perform an Aladdin and fly horizontally after you jump. Or after you've used all jumps, say if you're wearing the bundle of balloons or something like that. This can also save you in a pinch if you've fallen from a great height. As for the horizontal flight, you can use this to soar over bosses or just fly away at speed. You know, if you like running away from bosses. Oh boy, where do I start with this thing? This thing's my personal second favourite accessory in the whole game. This accessory dropped from Eye of Cthulhu, sadly only in expert mode. With this equipped, you can perform a short dash, which, in itself, is really useful to dodge projectiles that are a little too close for comfort. Or if you accidentally dash into stuff that you don't want to. However, what makes this really useful is its bonk ability. Not many people are aware of this, but after you've bonked something with the Shield of Cthulhu, you get immunity frames. And during this time, you can take no damage. So if you dash into something and bonk it, you have a good window of time that you can't take damage. And if you're fighting something that charges around at really high speeds, you can bonk it and it'll go right through you. Let's say Queen Bee or Insurgent from the Split mod. Hell, you can even use this thing against Duke Fishron. Oh, come on! If you know me well enough, you'll know that this was going to be here. It's the best accessory in the game, and you can get it pre-boss. The frog leg is essentially a jump boost that grants a near 50% jump boost in height, automatic jumping when holding the jump button, increases full distance before taking damage, and speeds up your vertical flight, which also means you fly faster and a bit further. Heck, with the bundles of balloons and a frog leg, you can basically jump your way into space at high speed. You'll pretty much always see me wearing this thing when I show my items off. Hell, I'm so used to this thing, I can't actually play the game without it anymore because my jump is so awful. Whenever I start the game, I'm going straight to the ocean and fishing up myself a frog leg. Alright, let's just have a brief segment dedicated to arenas. Most bosses can be fought with platforms. As all of you probably know, just build a massive platform bridge and use that. In best cases, Just have a gap of about 40 tiles between each platform. That should give you enough distance to fly up and fall down, usually to avoid bosses. Mounts have their uses when it comes to boss fighting. I'll be mentioning 3 mount types, which will be running, flying, and the slime mounts. These are mounts that serve the purpose of running really fast. The typical one being the unicorn mount. If you're in 1.4 though, you've got access to a lot more mounts that make you a lot faster. Running mounts are really good at getting you away from a boss if you need to get some distance, or running away from attacks. You know, if you like being a coward. These mounts serve a purpose of limited or unlimited flight, which isn't always useful due to how slow they can be. However, when it comes to flight time, these are incredibly useful to have. For example, you're flying while fighting a boss, a projectile is right underneath you and your flight time ends. You're going to fall into that projectile, so you just hop on your UFO mount and you continue flying out of the way. And then you land and get your flight time regenerated. It's a pretty useful thing to have. Ah yes, you all knew I wouldn't miss this one out. These 2 mounts are slow movers, but when you use them to fall, they can mean the difference between life and death. Either you want to dodge an attack that's coming your way, or you just want to make some distance from the boss with a quick bit of falling. These mounts will do that for you. However, with the King Slime mount, you'll take massive fall damage, even if you've got wings on.
Now that's a lot of damage!
So, the best choice is actually the Queen Slime mount, since that's actually immune to fall damage, so it's clearly the better choice when you get it. Modifiers are a handy little nugget. You can either get lucky when crafting or looting, or you can get the Goblin Tinkerer to steal all your money in exchange for nothing, since he always gives you the worst modifiers. Obviously, warding is totally useless if you're performing just don't get hit. But there are useful ones for fighting bosses, such as Menacing, which increases all damage by 4%. This isn't the most useful for weak weapons, but for weapons with high damage values, this will really give you some punch. Lucky. Lucky increases your critical hit by 4%. This is handy for early game weapons, as getting a crit would sometimes outperform Menacing's power, if you use the correct weapons. Overall, when it comes to Menacing or Lucky, it's certainly down to your own needs and what you're fighting at the time when it comes to choosing which one you want to use. Now with the damage modifiers out of the way, here's 2 more modifiers I'd actually suggest, being Quick and Arcane. Quick increases your acceleration and speed by 4%. This can be partnered well with sunflowers in your arena, which will make you even faster, which is really useful for the early game. And Arcane, which grants an extra 20 mana, which is a lot more useful than you might think, since the more mana you have means the longer you can use your weapons for. Let's say if you have star statues dropping loads of stars instead of using mana potions, you'll have plenty of mana to blast whatever you need into oblivion. Right, you've got your don't get hit skill, you've got your frog leg, and you've turned your entire world into nothing but platforms. Now what? Well, you need to fight some bosses, of course. But which ones? There's so many mods of various difficulties. Well, here's my personal selection, from easy to insanity. Vanilla Terraria. It's vanilla, a great place to start. Thorium. It was built to be like vanilla. Very fun. Gensokyo, which is basically Touhou in Terraria. Most of these bosses want you to stay really close to them and dodge through really small gaps in projectiles. Enigma, overall just really fun. The ethereal dimension I'd actually consider as hard difficulty. Of Darkness and Below, Supernova, and Amongst the Cosmos. Early mods that still need work but are still really fun to play.
And the Calamity mod. Yes, I'm serious. I mean, Yharex and Skal are pretty difficult, but the other bosses in the mod keep it all the way down to easy.
SGA mod, full of content that you never really expect to see in the game. Ultranium, full of fun bosses that start off easy and progressively get harder, even has a super secret boss hidden in there. Polarities, these bosses hold no punches. They want you to be prepared regardless of when you fight them. Even the first boss in the game wants you to be prepared with the correct gear for that stage of the game. Otherwise you're gonna cry. This mod also requires a thesaurus. Mod Redemption. This mod is bursting at the seams with content. Bosses, biomes, items, stories, secrets, you name it, this mod has it. Plus, seeing some super secret stuff. Oh boy, there's a lot of good stuff coming to this mod. Split. Charming and full of hard work. I mean, have you seen the size of some of these sprite sheets? I mean, this mod is rather easy till Seth, but the love and charm put into it cannot be ignored. Terraborn only has a few bosses, but they're still rather difficult and themselves pretty unique. AFK Pets. After these bosses get their reworks that I'm assisting with, these are going to be pretty difficult to beat. And Ancient Awakened. This mod is also another one that's full of biomes and bosses and items galore. Fargo Soul Eternity Mode. This mod is hard. Very hard. If you do this with the Cruel Eternity God rules, it gets even worse. Just like I've said before. Jeez, Terry, you are an asshole. Super Ancient Awakened. Good God, don't even get me started on the hell this mod spews. Do not try this unless you've recently escaped from an insane asylum. Right, this last bit is honourable mentions. The reason that they weren't put in the easy, normal, hard section is because there's so few bosses, it doesn't really work for this. So they're in an honourable mention instead. These honourable mentions are, I do hope I'm pronouncing these correctly, Maelstrom, the Tray mod, Extra Dimensional, Starlight River, Aquus, Secrets of the Shadows, Aerovalence. I get the feeling I just pronounced that way wrong. QWERTY's mod. I don't really have anything to say for this except for... Just bear in mind, these are all my personal takes. I have a lot of experience fighting bosses, and a lot of experience on learning how they work, and what makes them great or hard bosses. Depending on what the boss does, how you fight it, what movements you have to do, what memory you have to use, is how I rank their difficulty. If you want to argue with that opinion, then just remember my catchphrase. You know, because a lot of you are aware that I'm not interested in arguing with opinions. They are opinions. That is the point. And now, since I've done more mods since this was created, we've got a few additional ones to add, which is Stars Above, Spooky mod, Mech Bosses Rework, which is in 1.4, Catalyst, Fractures of Penumbra, and Elemental Unleashed. Right, that's all from me on this subject. I don't think I've missed anything, most likely have knowing me. Just one quick tip before I go. No-hitting is physically draining, mentally draining, stressful, and you're gonna feel like an idiot when you keep dying and dying again. The easiest thing I can suggest is get out of your chair, walk away, go outside, do something different that doesn't involve fighting bosses, because you will burn yourself into the ground and then just give up, which, if you want to do this, isn't going to be very good for you, because you're going to feel even worse that you've just given up just because the boss was too hard. Start with easy bosses, work up to harder ones. If you struggle, take a break. It's the simplest thing, just go for a break. Otherwise you might end up breaking something. And I don't think you want to end up breaking expensive hardware if you have it. So, with that being all from me, thank you very much Cursed Aphid for having me here. And the next segment is... something, I don't know the order of these things, so take it away. Next segment, it's all yours. Oh, you want to see the next segment? You want to see the next segment? Alright, fine. Alright. There is no next segment! I lied!